Disclaimer, I haven't seen Borderlands, and I am perfectly fine with that. So, without further ado, here are the top 10 worst movies of 2024, in my opinion, of course. Here we go. Number 10 is The Instigators. The Instigators is an Apple Plus movie. It's a streaming movie, and after watching it, I sort of understood why it was a streaming movie. I like Casey Affleck and Matt Damon. I think they're both really great actors, but the story of The Instigators was really thin. The chemistry between them sort of saved this movie, but it was still not good at all. I was hoping for it to be good, but it wasn't, and I was really bored watching this film. So this movie is number 10 on this list. Number 9 is Venom 3. Venom 3 is really a badly done film. I don't get the Venom appeal. I'm sorry. I know that some people like these films, but I just don't find them well written. I don't think that they're entertaining. I just think that they are really poorly made, and they are just really badly done comedies. I wouldn't even go so far to say that Tom Hardy is bad in these films. I don't think that Tom Hardy wants to be there. He is terrible as the Venom character. I don't like the way these films are made. I think that the stories are just bad. Screenplays are ridiculous. They're over the top, and they're not fun for me. I don't like watching these movies, and that's why Venom 3 is on this list. Number 8 is Rebel Moon Part 2. I like Zack Snyder films quite a bit. I am a big fan of Watchmen and Man of Steel. I think that he can be an extremely great visual director, but his storytelling, his scripts aren't all that great most of the time, and you can tell that with Rebel Moon Part 2. This story is just laughable. It's got really bad dialogue, terrible characters, really just over the top slow-mo action scenes. I really didn't like Rebel Moon Part 1, and the same thing with Rebel Moon Part 2. And I think he wants to make like 5 Rebel Moon movies. It's just insane. I really don't like these films. I don't like the style that Zack Snyder chose for these movies. I am not a fan of Rebel Moon at all. Number 7 is Unfrosted. Unfrosted is one of the most unfunny films I've seen all year. Probably the most unfunny film. I was just really let down by Unfrosted. I'm a big fan of Jerry Seinfeld, of the Seinfeld days mostly. When he gets the right material, he can be a really good comedic actor. But here, Unfrosted, nothing works. The script is lazy. The jokes don't land. It's a boring story. I was just really bored watching Unfrosted, and I couldn't wait for the movie to end, unfortunately. It's just really one of the worst movies of the year. I was really disappointed with it. Number 6 is Imaginary. Wow, what a piece of shit. Imaginary is one of the worst films I've seen all year. It's probably the worst horror film of the year for sure, and it feels like AI wrote the screenplay. It really does. Like, the screenplay of this movie is just laughably bad. It's really just filled with cliches, and it's not even scary. Like, it's filled with jump scares, cliches, and the characters are just so thinly written. None of the characters here are interesting, and I remember like watching this movie for like 30 minutes, and I thought like an hour and a half went by, but like, it had only been like 30 minutes. I was really bored watching Imaginary. I thought it was really awful. Next up is The Watchers. The Watchers is really a bad film. It's got okay performances. The performances are fine here, but the storytelling in The Watchers is really what brings this movie down. It's just a terrible script. The screenplay here is just bad. It's got some funny moments, some ridiculous moments, and it's just a really poorly paced film. I wasn't scared once watching this movie, and like the ending twist is really ridiculous. And of course, there's a twist here. It's not made by M. Night Shyamalan, but it's made by his daughter. It's her like directorial debut, and it's just really bad. Number 4 is Megalopolis. Megalopolis is just a big mess. You can tell that at least Francis Ford Coppola has love for this material. Like, he financed the project himself. He directed this movie. He made the screenplay. I get it. Francis Ford Coppola loved the story he was making, but I think that he is pretty much alone in this. Like, he doesn't bring anyone else along with him. I thought that Megalopolis was such a drag. It was beautiful to look at, but that's just about it. There was nothing really interesting going on in the storytelling or in the characters. I was super bored watching Megalopolis, and it's a super long movie too. Just a really poorly made film overall. Number 3 is Joker 2. Joker 2 is one of the most pointless films I've ever seen in my life. It feels really just redundant. I did not like a minute of Joker 2. I thought the performances were good, but that's just about it. The storytelling on display here is non-existent. You could feel almost Todd Phillips just not giving a shit for this film throughout the direction. Like, it looks good, the storytelling is non-existent, like I said, and you just don't give a shit. You don't give a shit about anything that's going on, and nothing makes sense. The character of Arthur Fleck is boring here. The character of Lady Gaga, Harley Quinn, doesn't really feel like Harley Quinn. She just feels like this made-up character, and this movie is just really awful, and the ending is just really trash. I hate Joker 2. Next up is The Crow. My god, another pointless film. It's just a pointless remake that should have never been done. Even the acting here isn't all that great. Like, Bill Skarsgård is somebody I usually enjoy, but I think that here he is just so stiff, and the chemistry between him and his girlfriend really doesn't work. It was just really tedious to get through this remake. I really did not like this film. It's just a poorly paced movie too. Like, it takes so long for the story to get going, and the dialogue is horrendous. It's just really a badly made film. I really did not like The Crow. Number 1 is Madam Web. Madam Web is really one of the most interesting films on this list, just because it's so awful, but I like how the actresses sort of just realize that it's awful during the filming of this movie, and they don't really give a shit. Near like the second act of the film, they stop giving good performances, and it shows. It's just a laughable story. Like, the story here is non-existent. The characters are bland. The script is horrendous. The dialogue is just atrocious, and the ending, my god, it's probably the worst ending of the year, if not maybe for Joker 2. It's a really bad ending, and I was really just flabbergasted when I was watching this film. I was really just wondering, how can a big studio greenlight this movie? It's horrible. It's just not fun, and I don't understand why they keep making these Spider-Verse films. Stop it. Yeah, those are my top 10 worst films of the year. I was really let down by some of these movies, and some of them were really like hard to get through. Like, I was really just bored throughout most of these films. So let me know what your worst movies of 2024 are down in the comments below. Please like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time.